Ladies and gentlemen, in today's world, it feels like chaos surrounds us. We are constantly bombarded with stress, noise, and expectations, emails demanding responses, responsibilities pulling us in every direction, and endless distractions from the present moment. And yet, peace is not something outside of us. It's within, waiting to be rediscovered. The question isn't whether peace exists, it's whether we are willing to create the conditions to access it. The beauty of inner peace is that it doesn't depend on the external. It emerges from how we regulate our thoughts, emotions, and energy. If we can master our inner world, no amount of external chaos can disturb us. This shift is not about running away from life, it's about changing how we experience it. The foundation of inner peace begins with awareness, specifically becoming aware of the patterns of thought that run our lives, often unnoticed. Most of the thoughts we think today are the same thoughts we thought yesterday, and if left unchecked, they create an emotional loop that we unknowingly become trapped in. These habitual patterns are like grooves etched in our mind-worn pathways that we travel automatically. The mind, in its effort to be efficient, keeps us locked in familiar cycles, repeating stories of stress, fear, or self-doubt. If we want to experience peace, we need to disrupt this loop and become conscious of what's happening beneath the surface. It all begins with noticing, but noticing isn't the same as analyzing or judging. The goal isn't to fight or suppress negative thoughts. Resistance only strengthens them. Instead, we cultivate a calm, detached awareness, like watching clouds pass across the sky. Thoughts are like these clouds, they come and go, and none of them define who we are unless we choose to hold on to them. In this state of gentle observation, we begin to understand that thoughts are just electrical impulses passing through the mind, not absolute truths. The moment you bring your awareness to a thought, something incredible happens. You create space. It's in this space that you gain the power to choose whether to engage with the thought or let it go. This is the shift from unconscious reaction to conscious creation. For example, if you notice a recurring thought that says, "I'll never be good enough," instead of immediately believing it, you pause. You observe it. And in that pause, you realize that it's not the thought itself that holds power, but the meaning you give it. As you build this awareness, you begin to see how certain thoughts trigger emotional responses, feelings of anxiety, frustration, or sadness. These emotions then pull you deeper into the same thought patterns, creating a feedback loop. The key is to catch the thought before it gathers momentum. Like catching a small flame before it becomes a wildfire, awareness allows you to stop the cycle in its tracks. This practice may feel challenging at first because the mind is accustomed to constant noise, but the more you notice, the easier it becomes. Over time, you'll realize that you don't have to chase every thought or get pulled into every mental story. You can observe them, allow them to pass, and remain anchored in the present moment. Awareness is the doorway to freedom because once you see the patterns, they lose their grip. You become more conscious of which thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. And when you consciously choose thoughts that align with peace, thoughts of gratitude, acceptance, and trust, your entire inner state begins to shift. Your mind stops being a battlefield and instead becomes a place of clarity and stillness, where peace is not something you find, but something you become. Emotions are energy in motion. They are not meant to be resisted or suppressed, but to be experienced, moved through, and released. Yet many of us become trapped in emotional cycles, recycling the same states of anger, anxiety, sadness, or frustration. These emotions, if left unchecked, take on a life of their own, shaping how we perceive reality. Emotional regulation is not about denying what you feel, but learning how to navigate your inner world with intention and awareness so that emotions flow through you without becoming part of your identity. The key lies in recognizing that emotions are transient. They rise, peak, and fall if we allow them to move freely. However, most people either resist uncomfortable emotions or attach meaning to them, getting caught in a loop of reaction. For example, when anger or anxiety arises, instead of observing it as a passing signal, we identify with it. "I am angry" becomes the story, and from there the mind feeds the emotion with more thoughts that match the state. "This always happens to me," or "Why do things never go right?" These thoughts amplify the emotion, and the cycle continues. But here's the truth: you are not your emotions. You experience them, but they do not define you unless you let them. The first step toward emotional regulation is awareness. Just as you observe your thoughts, you learn to observe your emotions, feeling them fully, but without judgment or attachment. When an emotion arises, resist the urge to label it as good or bad. Simply notice where it resides in your body. Is it tightness in the chest, heaviness in the stomach, or heat in the face? By bringing your attention to the physical sensation rather than the mental story, you begin to disarm the emotions hold over you. You learn to feel the sensation without needing to react to it. Breath is your greatest tool in this process. When you feel an emotion building, pause and take slow, intentional breaths. Inhale deeply through the nose, filling your lungs, and exhale slowly through the mouth, releasing tension. Breath not only anchors you in the present, but also sends a signal to the body that it is safe. This breaks the emotional chain reaction and creates a moment of stillness where choice becomes possible. In this stillness, you can decide how to respond rather than react. There is also profound power in naming the emotion not as a way to indulge it, but to detach from it. Saying to yourself, this is sadness or this is frustration helps you externalize the feeling. It becomes something you are experiencing, not something you are experiencing. This simple shift creates space between you and the emotion, giving you clarity to decide what happens next. Over time, as you practice this awareness, you'll notice patterns how certain emotions tend to show up in particular situations or how they are often linked to specific thought patterns. This awareness allows you to interrupt the automatic responses that keep you trapped in old emotional states. You'll begin to realize that most emotions are rooted in past experiences or future fears. But in the present moment, right here, right now, there is nothing to fear, nothing to regret. In the present, there is only what is. When you regulate your emotions, you reclaim your inner power. You no longer depend on external circumstances to feel calm, nor are you a prisoner of emotional storms. You allow emotions to move through you like waves rising, crashing, and receding without losing your sense of self. This is not about perfection, but about presence. Even when difficult emotions arise, you meet them with grace, knowing that you are the stillness beneath the waves. The more you practice this, the more your baseline state shifts from reactivity to calmness. You cultivate emotional resilience, the ability to remain centered even in the face of life's challenges. From this state, peace becomes not something you chase, but something you embody. And as you embody peace, you radiate it outward, creating harmony within yourself and with the world around you. We often think we are who we are because of our personality, our habits, and the stories we tell ourselves about our past. But in truth, much of this self is a construct of familiar, predictable version of us built from repeated thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This known self is comfortable, even if it brings stress, anxiety, or limitations because it feels safe in its familiarity. Breaking free from this known self is essential for inner peace, but it requires us to step into uncertainty, a place where real transformation happens. The known self is not just about the habits you recognize, like how you start your day or respond to stress. It's embedded in your thought patterns, emotional reactions, and even how your body feels on a day-to-day basis. If you wake up every morning with the same worries, entertain the same doubts, and feel the same frustrations, you are reinforcing the person you've always been. Your brain gets wired into routines, thoughts trigger emotions. Emotions trigger more of the same thoughts, and soon your body learns to expect and even crave those familiar feelings. Over time, your identity becomes tethered to this cycle. To break free, you must first understand that every time you react to life the way you always have, you are reaffirming the known self. It's as if you are practicing being the same person every day. And as long as you remain in this familiar loop, peace will always feel just out of reach because the version of you that you've been living is conditioned by stress, limitation, and survival. Peace requires you to step beyond this old version of yourself into a space where you are no longer confined by the past or trapped by fear of the future. But stepping beyond the known self means embracing discomfort. The mind resists change because it clings to what it knows, even if it is painful. It says, this is who I am and this is just how life is. Yet these are only stories, they are not fixed truths. The challenge is learning to release the attachment to who you believe you are, letting go of the familiar thoughts and emotional states you've identified with for so long. This is not an intellectual process, it is a felt experience. It's the moment you notice yourself reacting in a familiar way, feeling that same frustration, thinking that same limiting thought, and instead of indulging it, you pause. In that pause, you create a gap, a space where something new can emerge. This gap is where transformation begins. The unknown self, the one that exists beyond your current patterns, is not something you can predict or control. It feels like stepping off a ledge without knowing if there's a net. The mind will try to pull you back, saying, this is too hard, or what if I fail? But this is just fear of the unknown. Growth always demands stepping into that space of uncertainty, because it is only in the unknown that new possibilities exist. Imagine the person you wish to become, the version of you that is calm, joyful, and at peace. What kind of thoughts would that version of you think? What emotions would they feel? And how would they respond to challenges? You don't have to wait for some external event to become that person. You begin now by thinking those thoughts, feeling those emotions, and making those choices. Each time you do, you break a bit more from the known self and step closer to the new you. This process isn't linear. There will be times when the old self pulls you back, and that's okay. The key is not to judge yourself, but to keep choosing differently again and again. With each choice, you disrupt the familiar patterns and open yourself to something greater. You begin to understand that who you are is not fixed, but fluid, constantly evolving based on the energy, focus, and intention you bring to each moment. Breaking free from the known self is the ultimate act of liberation. It's not just about creating a better life, it's about experiencing life from a new state of being. When you stop identifying with the old patterns of stress, fear, and doubt, you reconnect with your essence, an essence that is peaceful, expansive, and limitless. Peace is not a destination outside of you, it is what arises naturally when you let go of the self that clings to chaos. In the space beyond the known self, you are no longer bound by what has happened to you, nor are you limited by who you were yesterday. You are free to create, to feel, to live fully in the present moment. And in that freedom, you discover the truth: you were never the old self to begin with. You were always the potential for something new, waiting to awaken. The present moment is the only place where life truly unfolds. Yet most of us live anywhere but here. Our minds drift between memories of the past and worries about the future, creating a sense of disconnection from what is happening right now. The mind is constantly scanning, planning, regretting, or anticipating, always in motion, rarely still. And the irony is, the peace we seek can only be found in this moment, in the now. To live in the present moment means to awaken from the trance of thought and reconnect with the direct experience of life, without the filters of the mind. When you are fully present, the mind loses its grip on you. Thoughts may still arise, but they no longer pull you away from what is. They become like background noise, while your awareness remains anchored in the here and now. This state is not something you force, it is something you allow. It requires a shift from doing to being. In this space of being, there is nothing to fix, nothing to achieve, and nothing missing. You simply experience what is without resistance. Living in the present moment means embracing everything as it is, whether it feels pleasant or uncomfortable. It's about becoming a witness to life, noticing the sensations in your body, the sounds around you, the air on your skin, and the rise and fall of your breath. These are gateways into the present because they draw your attention out of the mental chatter and into direct experience. The body always exists in the present, it is only the mind that drifts. By tuning into the body, you ground yourself in the now. This state of presence also opens you to a deeper intelligence and knowing that transcends thoughts and concepts. When you are fully present, you realize that peace is not something you need to chase. It is already here, beneath the layers of distraction and mental noise. In this stillness, clarity arises naturally. You begin to see that many of the things that once disturbed you were simply illusions of the mind, fears and regrets that do not exist in the present moment. But the challenge is, the mind does not want to stay here. It thrives on past and future, feeding on unfinished business and imagined scenarios. It will try to pull you back into its endless loops. Living in the present moment requires vigilance, not in a rigid sense, but in a gentle, loving awareness. Each time you catch yourself lost in thought, you don't judge or resist. You simply notice and bring your attention back to now, again and again. The beauty of this practice is that the present moment is always available. No matter how chaotic the external world may seem, there is a stillness that underlies everything. It's not something you create, it's something you access by choosing to align your awareness with it. Even in moments of stress or challenge, the present holds the key to peace. When you are fully present, you can respond to life rather than react to it. You become less controlled by emotional triggers and more attuned to what each moment is asking of you. Presence also deepens your relationships. When you are truly here with someone, listening without distraction, seeing them without judgment, you connect at a level beyond words. The same is true for how you experience yourself. In presence, you are no longer fragmented by thoughts of who you should be or what you should have done. You meet yourself as you are, and in that meeting, there is acceptance. Over time, this practice becomes more than just moments of mindfulness. It becomes a way of living. You realize that the only thing keeping you from peace was your mind's insistence on being elsewhere. In truth, life is always unfolding perfectly in the now. Every breath, every sensation, every sound, it's all part of the great dance of existence. And when you align with that dance, you become free. Living in the present moment doesn't mean you stop planning for the future or reflecting on the past. It means you no longer live in those places. You do what needs to be done, but your awareness remains anchored here. And from this place of presence, life becomes richer, fuller, and more vibrant. Every moment becomes an opportunity not to achieve or acquire, but to simply be. And in that being, you discover that the peace you sought was never somewhere far away. It was always here, waiting for you to notice. Gratitude is not just an emotion, it's a state of being, a way of aligning with life that transforms how you experience the world. Most people think of gratitude as something you express when good things happen, as a reaction to life's pleasant moments. But true gratitude is not dependent on circumstances. It is a practice of intentionally shifting your focus from what's missing to what's already here, from scarcity to abundance. And when you cultivate this state, you open a doorway to peace, joy, and inner harmony, regardless of the external world. Gratitude isn't simply about saying thank you or writing down things you appreciate. It's about feeling the emotion of gratitude in the depths of your being. It's a visceral experience, one where your heart swells with appreciation for even the simplest moments. To feel gratitude at this level, you need to shift out of the mental habit of waiting for something extraordinary to happen. Instead, you begin to recognize the miracle in the ordinary, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the taste of a meal, the breath moving in and out of your lungs. When you slow down and truly notice these things, you step into a state of wonder and appreciation that transcends logic. Cultivating gratitude also rewires your brain. The mind is naturally wired to scan for problems and focus on what isn't working. This is part of our survival programming. But when you intentionally practice gratitude, you begin to override this default setting. The more you focus on what you appreciate, the more your brain learns to seek out and highlight the good in your life. Over time, this practice becomes a new way of seeing the world. Instead of feeling weighed down by problems, you begin to notice opportunities, beauty, and kindness everywhere. You realize that peace isn't about the absence of challenges, it's about the presence of gratitude, even in the midst of them. Gratitude also shifts your emotional state. When you are in a state of gratitude, fear, anger, and stress cannot coexist. It's not just a mental trick, it's a shift in your chemistry. Gratitude activates the heart, calming the nervous system and bringing the body into balance. When you feel gratitude, your body relaxes, your mind quiets, and you come into alignment with the present moment. It's as if gratitude serves as a bridge moving you from the narrow focus of survival into the expansive state of being where peace, joy, and connection naturally arise. The most powerful form of gratitude is when you can feel it even for the things that appear difficult or uncomfortable. This doesn't mean you ignore pain or pretend that everything is perfect. It means you look for the gift in every experience, trusting that life is always working for you, even when it doesn't seem that way. Gratitude in this form is not passive acceptance, it's an empowered choice. It's the decision to say, I trust that this moment holds something valuable for me, even if you can't see it right away. When you cultivate this level of gratitude, challenges become opportunities for growth and setbacks become lessons in disguise. You no longer resist life, instead, you embrace it, knowing that every experience serves your evolution. Cultivating gratitude also connects you to others. When you practice appreciation, you become more aware of the kindness and support you receive from the people around you. This awareness strengthens your relationships, deepening your sense of connection and belonging. Gratitude helps you see others not through the lens of expectation or judgment, but through the eyes of appreciation. And in doing so, you not only uplift yourself, but also those around you. Your energy shifts and your presence becomes a gift to the world. But like any practice, gratitude requires consistency. At first, it may feel like effort, something you have to remind yourself to do. There will be days when it feels hard to find anything to appreciate. But these are the moments when the practice becomes most transformative. Gratitude is not just about celebrating the easy, joyful moments, it's about learning to find beauty and meaning even in the messy, uncertain parts of life. Each time you choose gratitude, you take a step toward freedom. You step out of the mind's endless chase for more and into the realization that you already have enough, that you are already enough. And over time, gratitude becomes a way of being. It shifts from a mental exercise into an embodied state. You wake up with appreciation, not because your life is perfect, but because you have trained yourself to see it that way. You begin to feel grateful not just for the things you have, but for the very experience of being alive. Gratitude becomes your foundation, a place you return to whenever life feels chaotic or overwhelming. And from this foundation, peace arises not as something you need to seek, but as a natural byproduct of living in alignment with the present moment. Gratitude teaches you that life is not something to be endured or conquered, but something to be embraced moment by moment. It invites you to let go of resistance and open your heart to whatever life brings. In doing so, you discover that peace was never something outside of you. It was always within, waiting for you to see it, waiting for you to feel it. And as you cultivate this gratitude, you awaken to a deeper truth that every moment, no matter how small or ordinary, is a gift. And in that realization, you find the freedom and fulfillment you were searching for all along. Heart and mind coherence is the alignment between your emotional state and mental focus, a harmonious connection between what you feel and what you think. When these two powerful forces are in sync, your entire being shifts into a state of balance. You no longer feel torn between conflicting emotions and racing thoughts. Instead, you move through life with clarity, calm, and purpose. In this coherent state, your body operates more efficiently, your stress responses decrease, and you gain access to a deeper intelligence that transcends logical thought. The heart is not just a pump for circulating blood, it's a powerful electromagnetic organ with its own neural network. It sends more signals to the brain than the brain sends to it, and these signals profoundly influence how the mind operates. When the heart is in a state of incoherence, filled with frustration, anxiety, or fear, it sends chaotic signals to the brain, creating mental fog, confusion, and reactive thinking. But when the heart radiates emotions like gratitude, compassion, and love, the signals it sends to the brain are orderly and harmonious, fostering clear thinking, creative problem solving, and emotional stability. Achieving heart and mind coherence is not about forcing the mind to obey or silencing difficult emotions. It's about cultivating a state where your thoughts and emotions are in harmony. This alignment allows your entire system, body, mind, and spirit to function optimally. In coherence, you feel centered. Your actions become more deliberate, your words more thoughtful, and your responses more intentional. Life no longer feels like a series of disconnected events but flows effortlessly, as if you are in tune with a greater rhythm. To enter this state, awareness of both the heart and the mind is essential. You begin by shifting your focus to the heart by breathing deeply and imagining the breath moving in and out of the chest area. This simple act of attention pulls you out of the habitual patterns of overthinking and brings you back to your body, to the present moment. As you do this, you intentionally evoke emotions that align the heart with positive frequencies: gratitude, love, care, or appreciation. These emotions are the keys that unlock the heart's coherence, shifting it from a chaotic state to one of rhythmic balance. The mind responds instantly to the heart's shift. As the heart enters coherence, the brain begins to quiet its overactive chatter. You notice fewer intrusive thoughts, and the mental noise that once consumed your attention starts to fade. In this space, you are no longer dominated by survival-based thinking, those loops of fear, doubt, and stress. Instead, you access a state of mental clarity where insights arise effortlessly. You become more aware, more intuitive, and more connected to a deeper sense of purpose. This coherent state is also deeply healing. Stress, tension, and negative emotions create chaos within the nervous system, keeping the body in a state of fight or flight. But when the heart and mind align, the body shifts into a state of rest and repair. The parasympathetic nervous system activates and cortisol levels drop. Your immune system strengthens, digestion improves, and energy is restored. Coherence is not just a mental experience, it is felt throughout the entire body as a sense of well-being and peace. Coherence also affects your interactions with others. When you are in a coherent state, people sense it. Your presence becomes calming and grounding, and you naturally uplift those around you. This is because the heart's electromagnetic field extends several feet beyond the body, influencing the energy fields of others. When you embody coherence, you create an environment that fosters harmony, connection, and collaboration. Conversations become deeper, misunderstandings dissolve more easily, and your relationships thrive. The beauty of coherence is that it is accessible at any moment. Even in the midst of chaos, you can pause, connect with your heart, and shift your emotional state. It only takes a few deep breaths and a moment of intentional focus to align yourself. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Coherence becomes your baseline, a state you return to again and again. It doesn't mean life will be without challenges, but it allows you to face them from a place of centeredness. As you continue to cultivate coherence, you begin to notice subtle shifts in your reality. Things seem to flow more easily. Opportunities present themselves without struggle. You find yourself in the right place at the right time, saying the right words without effort. This is not coincidence, it is the result of living in alignment with the deeper intelligence of the heart. When the heart and mind are coherent, you no longer have to force your way through life. Instead, life unfolds in harmony with your inner state. Ultimately, heart and mind coherence is a gateway to inner peace. It reconnects you with your authentic self, the part of you that exists beyond thought and emotion, beyond past and future. In this state, you realize that peace is not something you achieve by controlling your circumstances. It is something you embody by aligning your heart and mind with the present moment. And from this place of alignment, everything becomes possible. You are no longer limited by old patterns or beliefs. You are free to create a new reality, one that reflects the coherence within you. Energy follows intention. This principle reveals that where you direct your focus, your energy flows. Your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are not passive, they are dynamic forces that shape your experience of reality. When you think about something with clarity and purpose, your energy begins to organize around that intention, subtly influencing the external world and, more importantly, transforming your inner state. This is not just a philosophical idea, it's a truth you can feel and observe when you become aware of how your mental focus creates shifts in your body, emotions, and circumstances. Most people scatter their energy by focusing on too many things at once, worrying about the future, regretting the past, or getting caught up in distractions. In this fragmented state, the mind becomes a noisy place, and your energy disperses in multiple directions. Without clear intention, your life begins to feel chaotic, like you're spinning in circles but not moving forward. Intention acts as the anchor for your energy. It narrows your focus, drawing scattered thoughts back to center and aligning them with a single purpose. When your energy flows in one direction, it gains momentum and becomes a powerful force for change. Intention works because it engages both the conscious and subconscious mind. On the surface, it's a thought, a goal, desire, or idea you want to manifest. But beneath that thought lies an emotional resonance. The energy you generate when you hold a clear intention creates a frequency that aligns with the outcome you seek. For example, if you set an intention to experience peace, the very act of holding that intention begins to shift your nervous system into a more relaxed state. If you set an intention to cultivate abundance, your brain starts scanning for opportunities that match that frequency. It's not magic, it's alignment. Your thoughts, emotions, and energy converge, creating coherence between what you want and how you feel. However, for intention to be effective, it must be genuine and embodied. If your mind says one thing, I want to feel calm, but your body is still holding tension and stress, the signal becomes mixed and your energy scatters. The key is to feel the reality of your intention as if it has already happened. This is where most people falter. They place their intention in the future, thinking one day I'll be happy or I'll feel abundant once things change. But energy responds to the now. You must feel the emotions of your desired state in the present moment, even before it manifests physically. The body doesn't know the difference between an external experience and one vividly imagined with emotional intensity. When you feel your intention as if it's already real, your energy shifts to match that state, and life begins to organize itself around this new frequency. This alignment between intention and energy creates synchronicity, meaningful coincidences, and opportunities that seem to come out of nowhere. It's as if life is responding to the signal you are broadcasting. The truth is, everything around you, relationships, work, health, reflects the energy you are radiating from within. When your intention is clear and backed by elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, or love, your energy becomes magnetic, drawing similar experiences into your life. You no longer need to chase after what you want, because your inner state begins to attract it naturally. It's important to recognize that energy follows intention, whether you are aware of it or not. Every thought you entertain, every story you tell yourself, every belief you hold, whether empowering or limiting, is an intention. If you repeatedly focus on thoughts of lack, fear, or stress, your energy will follow those patterns, creating more of the same experiences. But the moment you become aware of where your attention is going, you gain the power to redirect it. Shifting your focus is like adjusting a radio dial. You tune into a new frequency, and your energy follows suit. This is how you consciously create the experiences you desire, by aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your highest intentions. Consistency is essential in this process. Intention is not something you set once and forget, it's a practice, a way of being. Each time you reaffirm your intention, you strengthen the energy around it. There will be moments when your focus drifts or life pulls you back into old patterns, but each time you return to your intention, you reclaim your energy and align it once more. Over time, this consistent practice reshapes your reality, not because you force things to happen, but because you become a living embodiment of your intention. Intentions also become more powerful when they are aligned with something greater than personal desire. When your intention is not just about personal gain, but about contributing to the well-being of others or the world around you, your energy expands. In this state, your intentions resonate at a higher frequency, drawing in even greater opportunities and support. The energy of contribution amplifies your focus, making the manifestation of your intentions more seamless and impactful. Ultimately, the practice of aligning energy with intention teaches you to move through life with purpose and presence. It shifts your focus from reacting to circumstances to consciously creating them. You become less concerned with what you can't control and more focused on the energy you are radiating in every moment. Life begins to feel less like a series of random events and more like an unfolding dance between your inner state and the external world. You realize that peace, fulfillment, and joy are not things you chase, they are states you cultivate by where you place your attention. When you live with intentionality, you step into the role of creator, not merely observer. You no longer wait for life to happen to you. Instead, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your highest vision, knowing that energy will follow. In this way, intention becomes your compass, guiding your energy toward the life you wish to create. And as you embody this principle, you awaken to the deeper truth that everything you need to create peace, joy, and meaning is already within you, waiting for your energy to flow toward it. Letting go and trusting the flow is the art of surrendering control and aligning yourself with the natural rhythms of life. It's about releasing the need to micromanage every outcome and instead learning to cooperate with the unseen intelligence that orchestrates the universe. This is not a passive resignation, but an active participation, choosing to let go of fear, resistance, and doubt, while trusting that life has a way of unfolding in perfect timing, even if it doesn't match your expectations in the moment. When you let go, you shift from forcing outcomes to allowing them. You stop swimming against the current and begin flowing with it, conserving your energy and experiencing a deeper sense of peace. Letting go requires an internal shift from the mind's obsession with certainty to the heart's capacity for faith. The mind craves control. It wants to predict and dictate how things should unfold. But this need for control is rooted in fear that if you don't manage every detail, things will go wrong or you will be left vulnerable. Yet the paradox is that the more you try to control, the more resistance you create. Control contracts your energy, closes off possibilities, and limits the flow of new opportunities. It keeps you tethered to familiar patterns, even when those patterns no longer serve you. Letting go, on the other hand, creates space for new energy to move through your life. It opens doors you didn't even know existed. To let go, you must confront the discomfort of uncertainty. It feels risky because the mind equates surrender with weakness or failure. But true letting go is not about giving up, it's about giving and leaning into the uncertainty with trust, knowing that there is a deeper order at work. This trust is not blind faith, but a recognition that life is not random. Just as rivers know their way to the ocean, there is a natural intelligence guiding your life toward growth, evolution, and fulfillment. When you align yourself with this flow, you begin to experience a sense of ease. Opportunities arise without force, and challenges become lessons that nudge you toward greater awareness. Letting go also means releasing attachments not only to outcomes but to identities, roles, and stories you've held on to. Often, people cling to specific ideas about who they are, what they should accomplish, or how things must be. These attachments can create tension and limit your ability to move freely through life's changes. The ego resists letting go because it thrives on certainty and familiarity, even when those things cause suffering. But freedom comes when you release the need for things to unfold in a particular way. When you let go of who you think you should be, you make room for who you are becoming. Trusting the flow doesn't mean life will always be smooth. Challenges will arise, but rather than seeing them as obstacles, you begin to see them as part of the flow itself. Even difficulties carry meaning and offer opportunities for growth. Trusting the flow is knowing that you don't need to have all the answers right now. It's okay not to know what's next. You don't need to push, force, or control every step. Just as a seed doesn't need to know how it will become a tree, you don't need to know every detail of how your journey will unfold. You only need to trust the next step and take it with intention. Letting go also shifts how you experience time. When you stop grasping for control, you stop living in the future waiting for a specific outcome to bring you happiness or peace. You return to the present where life is happening now. You begin to realize that the moment you let go, you are free. You are no longer bound by the need to achieve or acquire something to feel complete. You realize that life is not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be lived. In this state of flow, time feels expansive. You become more receptive, more creative, and more attuned to the subtle currents guiding you. Trusting the flow also nurtures a deeper connection with yourself. When you let go of external expectations, you begin to hear the quiet voice within the voice of intuition. Intuition thrives in the space that control leaves behind. It is the subtle nudge that tells you when to act and when to wait, when to speak and when to listen. It doesn't shout or demand it whispers, guiding you gently along your path. But to hear it, you must let go of the mental noise and trust that inner guidance is always available when you listen. The practice of letting go also cultivates emotional resilience. Life's ups and downs no longer throw you off course because you trust that every experience has a place in your journey. You become less reactive, less consumed by the need to judge events as good or bad. Instead, you meet life with curiosity, wondering what each moment has to teach you. This openness transforms your relationship with uncertainty. It no longer feels like something to fear, but becomes an invitation to explore the unknown with wonder. Letting go and trusting the flow is ultimately about embracing the idea that you are not separate from life, you are part of it. You are not here to control life, but to participate in its unfolding. The same intelligence that moves the tides, grows the forests, and orchestrates the galaxies is within you. When you align yourself with that intelligence, you become part of the flow, not just an observer of it. You begin to experience synchronicity moments when life seems to arrange itself effortlessly in your favor. These moments are not accidents, they are signs that you are in harmony with the flow. In the end, letting go is not about losing control, but about finding freedom. It's about releasing the tight grip of the mind and opening to the infinite possibilities that exist beyond what you can see. It's about trusting that life, in its infinite wisdom, knows what it's doing. And when you stop resisting, you discover that life flows through you, not around you. You realize that everything you've been searching for, peace, joy, meaning, was never outside of you. It was always within you, waiting for you to let go and trust the flow. Finding inner peace is not an escape from the world, but a way to engage with it differently. The outer world may remain chaotic, but when you create peace within, you become like a calm lake beneath a turbulent sky, still, centered, and unshaken. And from this state, life opens up in ways you never imagined.